Hello everyone and good morning. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, my name is Rochelle. I am a gardener in Zone 9B in Northern California. In a previous video, I talked about the fact that I have a lot of seeds, but a lot of older seeds. So with that, you don't necessarily get as good of a germination rate. So I just wanted to come unpack this box of seed that I ordered. Gurney had a really good sale. It was like $100 off of $200. So I ordered some things that I wanted to try for the fall, some that I actually might start for this summer. And then we'll look at the little surprise I was not expecting in my order. So I knew the order was coming. What I was not expecting was to get a box that said live perishable plants on it, because I thought all I did was order seed. So I did already open it, kind of look inside, see what was in here because I wasn't expecting anything live. But then I figured I would just kind of go over some of the things that I ordered, kind of what the plan is for them, and sort of go from there. So the big surprise was that I got shallots. I, for some reason, was thinking, and I'm sure I just didn't read it right or wasn't paying attention. I was thinking that I was ordering seeds because I've wanted to grow shallots. I've never grown them before. So I wanted to grow shallots in the fall, which where I live, onions, shallots, that kind of thing, you typically would plant in the fall. And then they would be ready the following summer. It's way too hot here, and typically like alliums don't like the heat. Like for example, today is, I think it's June 11th, and we're going to have a 105-degree day today. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. I really want to still plant them and see what happens, because when I tried to plant last year, I could not find shallots available. So I'm wondering if it's just one of those things that most places are like, oh, well, that's something people put in the spring and summer, but in an area as hot as mine, they're just not going to thrive. Like my onions that I planted last fall are just now being harvested. So that was the first thing. And I mean, I might try to plant them, maybe put them in an area that's a little more protected from the afternoon sun. That might just be an experiment for us. So the next thing, and I know some of these things I ordered a large quantity. I did not realize how big of a container that this would be. Now, these are southern peas. So because it gets so hot here, like some of my other peas pretty much petered out in like March. We had this freak 90 degrees in March. My peas never produced anything. My like beans, like string beans and bush beans and things like that, they struggled as well. So for the first time, I've never grown southern peas before, but I do have like the supports for it and everything because of some of the other things that I've grown. So this is the Purple Hole. It's a Quick Pick Pink Eye. So this is 1 pound of seed. So I'll probably put these in a couple of strategic places, and then we'll see kind of from there. So I have a friend who, she's a middle school teacher, and she runs her school's community garden. So over the last couple of years, when I plant seeds, I plant extra. So I make sure that I can give her plants for the garden for the kids to, be able to see how things are grown and that sort of stuff. So I may end up putting some of these out there as well. Either way, like it's a pound. I should have known it's basically beans. I know what a pound of beans looks like. I just wasn't really expecting it. So let's see the next things. So some of these are just marigolds. Unfortunately, with some of the Gurney stuff, it doesn't have pictures, but I try to do a lot of marigolds around the garden. This year is the first year that I really focused on putting a lot more flowers in the garden, and I've noticed a couple of things. I am not struggling at all with aphids this year, which is something I normally struggle with. My plants also are not being gone after by whiteflies, which is another thing that I've always struggled with since living in this house. So I've also ordered some blue poppies. So this year, kind of in that growing different flowers. I planted, it was a poppy mix, and I've gotten some really beautiful colors, not just the traditional kind of orangish that is the California state flower, but I've gotten like a whitish, a yellow, I've even gotten purple. So when I found that there was a blue color, I decided that I had to grow it because it looked so pretty in the picture. Let's see, I did actually order quite a few sunflowers this year, including, so this is a 1/4 pound of the mammoth sunflowers. So like the really, really big heads, really tall ones. So I think one of the things that I'm going to do, because again, certain things don't necessarily think that they're going to be quite as big as they are, because this is not, obviously it's not a traditional seed packet size. So I'm probably going to take these, not only, plant a few along one of the outside fences at my house, but I'll probably take some of these. I've got some plans for kind of how to expand and make my friend's school garden kind of produce more, whether it's the flowers, whether it's the vegetables, fruit, just to try to make it an area that students want to go and want to spend time in. And she's kind of trying to get it set up so that it's somewhere that people can go and they can relax and they can just be around nature, in addition to, fruits and vegetables that could be harvested. I did another small pack of sunflowers that were there. An orange sunflower. There's a Rouge Royale. And I mean, obviously, most of these packets don't have pictures, so it's kind of hard to show you guys what they look like. There's just different ones. The Bohemian Rhapsody sunflower was really pretty and had different colors. The only one that came with a picture on it is this Royal Flush. This is a mix, so there's different color sunflowers. So this will probably be another one that I'll do sunflowers out near where my pumpkins are planted and my watermelon. With those, I mean, it gets a good amount of afternoon sun. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe, because it is going to get kind of that intense heat for hours, it's not going to be like, it may not get 8 hours of sunlight in that spot, but it's going to get enough that it should grow. And sometimes, honestly, here, because it's so hot in the summertime, sometimes it is kind of to the benefit of those plants that that they don't get full sun, because who wants to be in 105 degrees sun all the time? So some other things that I did purchase this year. I purchased the Churchill hybrid Brussels sprouts. I've had a couple of types of Brussels sprouts that I have started before. This last year, one type of Brussels sprouts, I got 0 sprouts from it at all. So, and that seed is probably 6 years old at this point. So I kind of thought, I'm still going to try to sprout the rest of the pack. I got kind of a plan to start getting through some of the seed that I've just not been getting through. So I am going to be overseeding this year. I may end up selling or giving away starts. I give away a lot of plants, but I do have a relative that told me a couple years ago I should stop doing that, and at least, I've spent the money on the seed and then putting in the work. I should be selling them at least for a small amount. So another type that I got is the Sylvia hybrid. So there's no picture on this one. And then with Brussels sprouts, like, the crazy things, because of where I live and when I need to plant them, they are not a spring planting for me. For me, they are a fall planting. So I use an app that I've been using for a couple of years now, not sponsored at all. It's Seed to Spoon, and it gives kind of a window of when you should start seeds indoors. And for me, my window starts at the end of July. So in July, I will start planting Brussels sprouts so that by the time that they're big enough to go outside, I'll probably plant them out maybe in like September. I feel like when I plant them out in October and November, it really doesn't give enough time. Like I didn't get any Brussels sprouts this year because March hit and we suddenly got all these, crazy hot weather that March is not usually that hot. It does warm up quickly. Your, leafy greens and things are not going to last. They're going to probably bolt, and usually broccoli will, but this year was kind of an exceptional year for the heat. So this is the candy hybrid onion. So I've heard really good things about it. So I do have some onion seed. My onion seed is getting old. They say that the germination rate is drastically drops after that first year. Some of my seed is 4 and 5 years old. This last fall, though, I did still get a relatively good sprout from it. So again, it's one of those things that I'm going to overseed. And if I need to give away onions, it is what it is. Or if I need to sell onion sets or something like that, like it's something that I feel like I'm kind of prepared to do at this point, because I would rather at least attempt. If I don't ever attempt to sprout those, then I'm never getting anything from them and they were a waste of money. But at least if I try to sprout them, I might just have extra. So even if I'm like, oh, I've got these extra plants, let me, sell them for 50 cents or something. At least it's going to be something that can help me to not have just wasted money. I like to experiment with a lot of things and a lot of different types of things and interesting things that you don't normally see or hear about. So sometimes I will go crazy and it's like, oh, that's really cool, I'm going to get that. Oh, that's really cool, I'm going to get that. And then I have to figure out when and how I'm sprouting them, where I'm going to fit them in the garden, which I've literally have things right now that they're in containers. And I'm like, okay, where is that going to have a permanent home? Because I know I want to grow it. I know it's a really cool plant, something I really want to try, but I have to kind of have the balance of figuring out, how to use the seed so it's not just a waste. Again, it's never going to sprout if I don't at least try. So the next thing that I ordered was a sweet pepper. It's a Yum Yums hybrid mixed mini bell peppers. So these ones, this is the one that said that it comes in multiple, like the peppers will be in multiple colors. So I have one of my kiddos, last year I grew sweet peppers for the first time, like a snacking peppers, and he loved them. The rest of them couldn't really care, but he was out there constantly looking to see if there were any ripe peppers. So I've started a few different ones this year that I've never tried before. And when I saw this, it made me think of him. And so I might try to just go ahead and germinate a couple of these now, because they're 55 days to maturity. With our season, we don't get frost sometimes until December. So with the length of our seasons and the fact that it's still warm in October, I've overwintered pepper plants without any protection. They've been perfectly fine. So I might just go ahead and start a few of these just to kind of see if we can get something, see if he enjoys them. The next thing that I got was this. It's a Flame Star hybrid cauliflower. Now, I've grown some cauliflowers. I do have written down, I think it was the Rober cauliflower last year that did really well. It was the first one to mature. But this is supposed to be a pretty, like, a orangish yellow color. And I like to grow interesting things like that. I did a purple of Sicily last year and it just didn't do that well. But I've had some issues with my raised beds, and my garden honestly does not get enough sun especially in the winter, even where my raised beds are at, that get a lot of sun in the summer. So it could be that. I'm probably going to actually do some experimenting this year. And instead of growing in some of my raised beds in the winter, I'm probably just going to up what I do in my green stalks to see, because I can move those around if I need to. And I have a section in that backyard in my garden area that is cement. So if I need to move them, I probably won't be able to keep them onto the automatic watering system, just because I don't want to move a watering system again and again. But typically, like where my watering system is typically where I keep my strawberry towers. So other things I can move around. Let's see. The next one is just the hybrid snow crown cauliflower, kind of a traditional. Some of my cauliflower seeds are also getting old, so I will still continue to sprout some of those while I try a few of these. And then I also got the mulberry hybrid. It was so pretty. The picture, it's like a purple cauliflower, and it was just gorgeous. I had to order them when I saw the picture. I had to order it. Plus, like I said, they were giving basically 50% off. It was $100 off of $200. So I was trying to reach the $200 mark and just started adding things on. And again, like with all of these, because I do start seeds for more than just myself. I give to my friend's garden. I do a ton for myself, my own children, their school's community garden. I sent tons of plants with them. So it's just kind of one of those where the seeds at this point are going to get used up because I am starting to start more. I have a plant like growing setup now that I did not have in previous years, that I've kind of had to piece together to be able to grow because I wanted to start my own seeds. And the amount of space that I am gardening in, it would be way too expensive to try to go to a store and purchase those. So this one is a broccoli hybrid. So this one, it's going to do like a lot, like a central head, and then it's going to have the little mini shoots that come up afterwards. It's supposed to be really prolific with the extra shoots. We can eat a lot of broccoli here. Fresh broccoli, steamed broccoli, like having it sauteed. Like we go through a lot of broccoli. And then here's another one. It's a blue ribbon broccoli. Again, a lot of my broccoli seed is old. I've been trying to really just kind of get through it. Next is this Super Jericho lettuce. So I started trying to grow these a few years ago. These have actually been, they were part of a growing study where here in this area, I believe it was through UC Davis, they did a study where with the Jericho lettuce, because it was developed in the desert, it actually does really well. It's going to be harder to germinate when it's hot out, but if you can get it to germinate, I think in the study, they said that it was 70 days before it bolted in the middle of summer. And it was like starts that were placed out in like July. And we live about an hour from Sacramento. So if they were doing it in that area, it's very similar weather. So I've been looking at starting some of those. I do have some of those in hydroponics gardens right now, but I was thinking about starting a few and transplanting them out, like hardening them off, transplanting them out after this little heat wave we're in right now, and kind of going from there to see, like, do they do well? With most of my lettuces, even the heads lettuce types that I will grow, a lot of times I still do cut and come again, because for me, it's just easier to do. Right now, my hydroponic gardens have been producing pretty well here in the house, and they're relatively small. I do have a video that I'm going to be posting where I set up a brand new hydroponic garden. And then I'll have like kind of updates, because things do sprout relatively quickly. Within 2 to 3 weeks, I have my first harvest. One of them I have cut and come again several times, and it's time for me to kind of pull those plants and start another set. But my other set that I started is almost 2 weeks old, and it's getting ready to be harvested for the first time. So I'm really hoping that this is going to work for me for the summertime to get the leafy greens. I do also have some other really interesting plants that I will show you guys on maybe some garden tours and that kind of thing, because I do have some things that are not true spinaches, but that can be used as a substitution for it. So this one is a head lettuce, a Paris Island Cos, Paris White Cos. It's a romaine. Romaine is my favorite. I don't tend to do it as much in the aero gardens because it does need more space. Because it's a heading lettuce, but I'm thinking about still trying it out and treating it as a cut and come again lettuce. Let's see. So I ordered this honeydew. It's a Sweet Reward improved hybrid. I'm actually out of honeydew seeds. I planted some a few weeks ago. None of them have sprouted, so I am going to replant that area. I had an issue with some of my irrigation in that area. And so, not realizing it at the time, I didn't go out and just hand water it or anything. So my plan is I've got that irrigation stuff fixed. My plan is to go and replant, with the exception of the honeydew that I'm going to have to put the new seeds. I do have seeds, I think, for almost everything. I will just replant the same thing in that spot, so I don't have to change like my tracking maps and all that kind of stuff. And then I did order pak choi because my pak choi, none of it had sprouted. So I will try that for fall. Pak choi is very, very sensitive, easy to bolt. I've never even gotten to harvest my own because when I first started gardening and I was trying to grow it, I was growing it in the spring. And so, like I said, the sun would start hitting early March. It immediately bolts. It bolts faster than any other green that I've ever grown. So I'm hoping this year, like I said, I'm going to start it for fall because typically a lot of things are able to be sprouted when you're going into cooler weather so that they're not just bolting and then. And same thing with this spinach. I have spinach seed that I've tried several times to sprout. Nothing is sprouting. So I went ahead and ordered some other spinach just to see. There was another gardener that I was watching that was saying, like, with the particular type that I had, those are notoriously difficult to sprout. So I just thought maybe I would try something. I have kind of a combination of hybrid and heirloom plants. So with the spinach, I'm trying a hybrid to see. We'll see what happens. Then I got this Emiko hybrid cabbage. So there's supposed to be a very dense head of cabbage. I like to grow cabbage and they're beautiful, but I don't particularly love cabbage. But I have other people in my life who do. So I will, even if there's something I don't eat, I will still grow it to give to someone. If it's something that I just want to try out, or like cabbage, honestly, cabbage growing is beautiful. And I know like a lot of people like it in sauerkraut, things like that. I don't like sauerkraut. Ironically, the thing that I grow the most plants of in a year is tomatoes, and I don't eat tomatoes. But I have kids who will just go out there and eat tomatoes right off the vines. For me, I want to grow plants that I can use for canning for like tomato sauces and stuff like that. But oftentimes the kids still get to them before I can. And so I do end up, where I live, there's a lot of agriculture, and you can very easily find people selling large amounts of produce for relatively good prices. So in past years when I've canned tomato sauce and things like that, I have ended up purchasing, it might be $20 for a bucket or something. I planted a lot more tomatoes this year with the intent of really trying to get them. The kids are still getting to them first. So, and I actually, because they've been getting to them first and eating them, I had to buy a Roma tomato at the store yesterday. Even though I've got all these tomatoes that have fruit set on them right now, they're not ready, and I needed something to cut up to, top a dinner dish. So yeah, we go through a lot. Let's see, and this is another cabbage that I'm going to try. And this one says it has tightly packed 4 to 6 pound heads. So they're very heavy for their size. And again, it's going to be one that I am going to grow. I will grow plenty of. I am going to try soil blocking for the first time. So I'll probably this year do a combination because I've heard it takes a little bit of a learning curve for soil blocking. So I've been trying a few little things that I've done soil blocking on. I do have like containers and things to start things, but I just kind of wanted to get away from using like plastics, and if I can soil block and only just use soil to grow certain things in, or even to just get them started, because I I've got some little containers that are like 12 small cells. But if I can do a bunch of soil blocked ones, I do have the graduated size of the soil blockers. So let's say like my 3/4 inch soil block, which is tiny for very, short-term things, it fits directly in the top hole of the 2-inch one. And then, if I do the 2-inch one, it fits directly into the top hole in the 4-inch one, so that I'm hopefully not disturbing roots and I can kind of upsize. For certain things like peppers and tomatoes, I haven't decided yet if that's the way I'm going to go or if I'm just going to use the containers I already have. Just because I've heard that the longer something has to be in the soil block, the less integrity that soil block has. Like, it can start to lose soil over time, that sort of thing. But so that's going to be kind of what I am working on. Like I said, I am going to be starting Brussels sprouts about the end of July. Right now, we're almost mid-June. So I've got a little bit of time. I need to start kind of planning out, like, how many do I want to grow. My kids will eat Brussels sprouts. I mean, they love them sauteed with like butter and bacon and stuff. But, and again, it's one of those things that I don't eat, but I was a very, very picky eater growing up, and I've tried to do things so that my kids are not so picky. And so far, it kind of works. That's why we grow a lot of broccoli. The kids will sit there and eat salads. They love carrots. They love a lot of different things. I mean, of course, they want all the junk food and all the kids' snacks and all that. But they are also willing to try new things all the time. So we do have a rule in our house that if you don't like something, maybe, a couple of times a year, you just take a bite to see if your taste buds still don't like it or if they've changed. And then, if they've changed, then you've got a whole new thing that, that you can eat and try out. So, a little bit of give and take, trying to teach them that, there's a lot of different things that they may or may not like as a child, because I have things that as a child I wouldn't eat that I eat now. So just kind of trying to let them understand that taste buds change over time. Sometimes you just want to try a new thing. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know I just didn't have a lot of pictures on these. I prefer the ones that have pictures on them personally, just because, you can kind of see what it is right then and there. But I do hope that you find peace, joy, and comfort in whatever you decide to cultivate in your home. I'll see you next time. Bye.